Alright, good morning everyone. Let's get today's analysis started. We are on EU on the daily chart. We have EU on the top, DXY on the bottom. So what's the daily chart showing us? Yesterday we closed out as a bearish candle. Now if we look into that bearish day, you can see we swept buy side liquidity from two previous daily highs. That gave us some bearish momentum, bearish move, and then we swept sell side liquidity from previous lows, this low here. Right, which obviously made us pull back somewhat. So if I'm just looking at these candles from this from Friday and into this week, they have fairly similar highs and lows kind of, right? So we may have some sort of range going on the lower time frame. It's looking like a support or possible consolidation in that area on the daily anyway. The most important thing to bear in mind for me is the fact that we took buy side liquidity, came down, took sell side liquidity. So where are we going to go from the sell side liquidity, which was obviously swept most recently? Will there be that further pullback towards these POIs or maybe more of a premium? Because in my opinion, of course, we are still in a discount, right? So bearish trend, but we're in a discount. We'll see if we get that more meaningful pullback or not. DXY, of course, also last swept some buy side liquidity from previous daily highs, right? And, you know, we still have those draws on price below as well. So maybe we'll head for some sell side liquidity on DXY. Not too sure at the moment. We'll have to look into lower time frame. So far today we're bearish. Okay, price has been moving bearish this morning, but we have previous daily highs and lows still intact as well. Sell side and buy side liquidity targets. So I think that's everything for the daily. Let's look into the 4 hour, see what the structure is telling us. Right, so in this 4 hour time frame, again, you can see we have a bearish leg here. We did pull back quite correctively up into this zone, right? This is the complete 4 hour order block there. So yes, we did mitigate it. But as I've said before, price does like to sometimes come into that last order block. So I'm keeping that there for now, but we swept buy side liquidity, right, from those previous highs and broke down. So we had a lot of bearish momentum there yesterday. And as you can see, went below these lows. So internally, right, especially on the 1 hour, that's going to look like a proper lower low. So it's going to be a bearish looking leg here from this high to this low. Right, we're still internal to this leg here. And as I said, maybe we want to go higher into that leg. But now we're starting to see possible signs and indications of maybe we've now broken this low and we're going to continue going lower. The only thing I would say about that is obviously we closed as a sweep. We've closed body of the candle up here, taken all this sell side liquidity. That could be the sell side liquidity we need to come into this zone here or push higher. So there's those things to consider because we still haven't taken out this low. Okay, so this leg's still intact here. And with that pullback, right, we can still go on to meet these highs here. We haven't yet confirmed and made a lower low through that previous weekly low. So that's the only things I would bear in mind. Right, obviously on DXY we did pull back into that 4 hour order block as well, and clear as day now with all this bullish momentum, we're above this high here, internal high, broke above that, so it does look like a clear higher high. So we could continue on with a bullish dollar, right? Of course we haven't really pulled back to a premium up here or a discount down here for a good pullback to maybe look for resistance to then go short. But this morning you can see we do have some bearish momentum here. So we'll see what's going on the hourly, where this leg will probably look a lot clearer. So let's go down to the hourly. Let's see what the hourly looks like. That structure, of course, is going to be a lot clearer on the hourly. Right, so from this high to this low, clear lower low, say break below this low here, which had that higher high. So I do see that as an internal shifting structure on the hourly. So that does give me a bit more of a bias now to possibly go short. Price may just ignore this 1 hour order block POI up here with this imbalance. Right, we made our corrective pullback, took some buy side liquidity and broke down again. Again, it's still a sweep here. We've swept sell side liquidity, so we'd come up to find a resistance and possible premium or some buy side liquidity. So if we look, we've pulled back overnight and into Asia, and we've met this 1 hour order block here. We've come into the last candle and closed that imbalance, and from there we do seem to be rejecting this point. So although it's kind of a middle point equilibrium and discount POI, we have respected it so far, so I can't really ignore that as a POI. Okay, so resistance is playing out from this point here. What does that do? That makes this a possible weak low. Okay, so we have that external bearish leg here, pulled back, broke down again, pulled back, resistance here, possible weak low, possible weak low. Okay, if that's playing out. Right, so we've had bearish momentum. We're about to close out this last hour in 3 minutes. So far, it's still a bearish candle, of course. You can see where we've reached down low and probably taken some internal sell side liquidity, which is causing us to pull back. So again, also on DXY, you can see clear switch of that structure. We've broken above those highs there. We have taken plenty of buy side liquidity, right, which we'd expect to give us a pullback. We're not really into a discount, but price seems to be finding support here from this sweep of liquidity there, and we may be moving bullish, right? And if we do, possible weak high up here after taking all this sell side liquidity, heading for that buy side liquidity. So we do look rather bearish this morning. We do have a 1 hour POI which we've currently rejected. We have a bearish leg, right? Bearish break of structure on the hourly as well to go with our higher time frame trend anyway. So possible weak lows. So therefore my bias is leaning towards sells and a bearish bias. Bearing in mind, of course, we do have our negatives of POIs above, more of a premium POIs, especially on a higher time frame. But we can only follow our narrative, right? Creating a narrative from the story that the price is telling us. So I do see this as a bearish bias. So let's go down to the M15, see what trade may look like for today. So this morning already on the M15, we've had our clear break of structure pretty much there and break of structure here on DXY. So let's see what's happened this morning, right, which has contributed to this bearish breakdown. DXY, you can see swept those Asia lows and some previous lows here for sell side liquidity, and then had a bullish momentum breaking above that high. Okay, we had SMC divergence here on DXY where we had this high to this lower high, where DXY had this low to lower low, taking that sell side liquidity, showing weakness on EU because it refused to make that higher high there and broke down, right? So the weakness was shown. Break of structure below these internal lows, right, with quite a bit of momentum coming from a 1 hour POI here, M15 order block, right, from previous day as well. Possible weak low in mind this morning, already broken down on the open of London, and we're possibly pulling back to this zone here. We might mitigate, say, this M15 order block here and continue lower. Now I do see the possibility of this. It's not really how I trade. I prefer a clear imbalance with the order block preceding it. So we have an imbalance here and we may fill it and reject this zone, which I think is definitely possible, but that's not how I like to trade. So I probably won't be setting an order here, but I can see the possibility of that break of structure, SMC divergence, pull back, feel this imbalance here on both DXY and EU, and then continue lower, right? SMC divergence, quite a few confluences on side for price to go short. My narrative and bias is to go short towards this weak low. But what I will do personally is likely to let this play out. If it's going to play out, let price pull back to this point here and then break down again. So break down below this low, break a structure, hopefully leave behind a better order block with imbalance, right, to get a continuation for us to continue short towards that downside there. Now there's the chances of me being left behind, right, but I think for the security and confidence of what I'm looking for, that's what I'm going to be doing here, because I have my doubts with this price action not giving me the type of entry that I like, and that we still have draws on price above, but we've taken a lot of sell side liquidity here. But I do believe in this narrative. We had this trend line here, we've liquidated most of it. I think this is a possible weak low, so I'll just wait for another order block with imbalance to be left behind, right? Possible inducement from a corrective pullback. We have our break of structure again below this low. If we leave this low here, and then we can set our order to go short, stop loss just above the high, targeting towards week low here, right, in the discount. So I think that's what I'll wait for. I don't want to just set an order here not knowing where I want to set it, but it would look something like this, I imagine. Stop loss just above the high if you want it there, and you could target the lows as well. So I do see that possibility, but I think I'll wait for some sort of continuation that may happen during this price action. We have a nice trend line here for DXY to go for. It's taken sell side liquidity, which is great, which is the sponsor for that bullish move to continue higher. So hopefully we do get, you know, something like this for me to participate in, break structure above this high, pull back towards previous daily high. So that's everything on EU. Let's move on to GJ. So here we are, GJ on the daily. What's the daily showing us? Well, yesterday we pulled back up into this daily order block here and have rejected it so far, right? So clear resistance from there, price pull back down, closing below the order block, right? So it looks like it's respected it from a daily point of view, where we had our bearish leg which broke below this leg here, pulled back from this sell side liquidity of previous weekly low, respected the order block, didn't come above to sweep that buy side liquidity of the previous weekly high, at least at the moment. So far today we've opened up very bearish, but now we have taken previous daily low sell side liquidity. So you can see price is pulling back, and it may motivate price to go higher, search for more buy side liquidity, or it may come to some sort of resistance to continue in our possible newfound bearish trend here to make a lower low. Right, so after respecting this high, this may become some sort of weak low internally, but let's see what that looks like on the 4 hour. So on the 4 hour here, of course, we had a bit more of a complex pullback, right? After price breaking down from this point here, right, minor pullback, broke down again, and then pulled back up into this 4 hour order block here, which we have so far rejected. Now price has made its way down back towards this discount where we have a 4 hour order block with imbalance there. So we are into this order block technically already, right? Because this is an order block candle as well. But we do have more room to go to fill this imbalance. So even if this is a bullish structure on the hourly after breaking above this internal high here, we still have more room to go for that fill down there. So there is a lot of bearish momentum this morning, as we can see. We are below the previous daily low. It doesn't seem to be reversing price that much just yet. So perhaps it's not going to reverse price, but we also have come into this order block. So something to be aware of. I do feel bearish from here, right? I know this complex pullback can confuse the picture somewhat, but I think overall with these lower highs, lower lows, that we are looking quite bearish here on the 4 hours still. So let's go down to the 1 hour. Let's see if we can gain any clarity from that. So after all this bullish momentum and rejecting this 4 hour order block area here, we have started to break down internally, right? We can see there's low, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. That'll be super clear on the M15 most likely. We've closed below the previous daily low on the hourly, so it does give some sort of bias towards that low, even though it is sell side liquidity down there. The way I see it currently, we're quite corrective, so maybe we are pulling back to a zone and we'll find support, but I do think our direction is still bearish, right? We still have a bearish direction. We just need to be aware of possible support areas down here, such as filling this imbalance in this discount may have on price. So far today, and literally at this moment, we have a bit of bearish momentum. Price pulled back to an hourly order block here. Again, the last candle is above, which is still unmitigated, so we could pull back further, but we've mitigated the entire order block just slightly as well. Come up above this previous high in here into this imbalance, and we're reacting from there. So I see price as bearish. Order flow seems bearish overnight and into today. So I think we could possibly follow that to some sort of POI, say here, for a day trade to go short, right, following that high time frame structure. So let's go down to the M15. Let's see what that looks like. So for today, I already think there's a possibility price may ignore it and may just play out now, as we can see. But let's go through price. So we had an Asia range here. Price came up into Frankfurt, London, swept that Asia range high. So we've taken all the buy side liquidity above these internal highs here, had a big momentum, bearish momentum breakdown, taking all of this trend line out, closing below this low here, clear break of structure. Now price did pull back fairly correctively, even left an inducement toward an M15 order block left behind here with this imbalance. So this is what a trade would look like for me. Entry at the bottom of the order block, stop loss just at the top of that high here, aiming for 3%, which is just before those lows, which is pretty good as well for a point to take profit. So that's what I'm seeing so far this morning. We have now come up and looks to be swept this inducement, and that's caused some bearish momentum. We'll see if price ignores the imbalance here, right, doesn't completely mitigate it and come into this order block. It may just break down from here after sweeping this buy side liquidity. So we'll see what happens there. I think this looks like a decent trade as well. So come up into that hourly order block, that final order block, M15 order block here with imbalance, break of structure, corrective pullback into this zone here, right, to go short towards these, what would be a weak low if we respect this area. What we may get if price just breaks down from here is a sweep of buy side liquidity. Price may break down again, break of structure below here, then we get a pullback to an order block on M15 maybe for a continuation to go short. So maybe something like this will happen, and again can take advantage of a continuation with an order block somewhere around this point here, order there, stop loss just above the high wherever it leads it. It'd be a fairly big stop loss, so it may not look the best, but GJ has that in it to move that much, and you would just target towards the lows. Okay, so it may get some sort of continuation form, but I think the better zone is up here. The weakness of this would be that this is still available above and price could come and use you as inducement. So that's the opportunity I see this morning, so I'll be looking into that over the next few minutes. So I hope you gained value from that. I hope that was clear. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.